We are going to be talking about today is success by design. How do you get paid from your purpose, from who you're made to be? How do you take that and put it into play into the great wide world and actually make money? And the answer is going to be your spiritual work, your purposeful spiritual work. We're going to give you the equation to unlock that and to actually harness all of the power that is inside of you to bring it into the world of your profession. But before we do that, I, of course, have a story, a bit of a story for you. A couple of days ago, actually, it's been almost a week ago now, our son, his phone broke. And we bought him a few phones and they keep breaking. And he's old enough to take care of those things on his own anyway. And so we told him he had to take care of it on his own. The solution that he had was completely unexpected. Ephraim it was Zack Shady. His name was like, oh, some shady is going to be coming by to fix my phone. Now, that was completely random because for us, we're not thinking of someone actually coming to our house to fix a phone. Like maybe a car, definitely something on your house. Like people actually would drive to your house to fix a phone. Mr. Shady did. Then we had to we had to think about the unconventional thing that he was doing, but also the unconventional name, Zack Shady. Because this guy Shady, he's coming to our house. What's going to happen? He walks in, and I was finishing up work, but I hear this loud and excited. This deep voice was just very, he was diagnosing the phone and he was going through and he was so excited. And this guy he was sharing with us all kinds of things. He was telling stories about how he was in chronic pain and how that's changed his life and how he used to run the cell phone shop and how that changed his life and how he learned as a kid to take things apart and how he was authorized by Apple. And he goes through all of these stories. And the whole time while he's doing this, his hands are working like a robot. And as he's going through, he's pulling stuff out and putting other stuff in. And he shows my son, oh, here's your problem. You bought this off of Amazon, didn't you? And he said, yes. He said, they threw in a faulty battery. That's okay. He goes through. And as he fixes this thing, he's doing it with joy. It is a way for him to connect with us. We're all connected. We're all like, we are spellbound. Like all of our family began to gather around him and watch him work. He was living in his zone of genius. Now, there were two factors this guy mentioned as he was going through. One for sure that he had chronic pain, and that had been an issue in his life, and it hampered the way he was able to work in different places. And so that was a severe limitation. The other one was, and I don't know if he mentioned it directly or if he just told stories that led us to understand, this guy was definitely on the autism spectrum. Definitely. There was probably an anxiety with people and dealing with people. There were some of those issues, but as he was on the stage of fixing a phone, all of the limitations melted away. He left. We paid him. We thanked him. Anytime there are any phone issues, there's no question in my mind. We're calling this guy over. It was literally like being on a Disney World ride. It was an experience. I loved every second of it. When you come across someone who's like that, it changes your atmosphere a little bit, doesn't it? It maybe makes you question who you are and how you do things, and what a gift to society those people are. You, my friend, and I should actually absolutely be that same way. And that's what we're going to be getting into is how can you get into a place where your design, the actual genius that you are, completely removes your limitations and puts you into a place to where it's not just giving you financial success. It will give you financial success, but it also empowers you to connect with others in a way where everyone grows and benefits. That's a special place. And that, in my world, is a spiritual work or a vocation, which means calling, or a profession where you are doing well as a professional, the thing you believe, what you profess, because you're really dug into and researched about the thing like a professor, you are a professional. You're sharing what you love in a way that is expert and unmatched. That's where we are going. I want you to take a moment before we dig into this and think about and take an assessment of the actual power that exists within you. I find that most people that I ever deal with severely limit themselves based on past performance, based on what they've seen in the past. And the result of it is their imagination for the future is locked into the cage of the past. So how do we get out of that cage and jump into, or get the key and grab hold of the thing we were meant for? That's where we're going. Let's take a quick look here. How we get paid from purpose, and it is your spiritual work. Now we know this, we've seen this, that our results come from this cycle. And so a lot of us as professionals, we will change things. And what we're doing is we're changing things that don't need to be changed, or we're changing things into something that was even worse than what we started with. But we do know that this cycle absolutely exists. We know that our thoughts, I think they got backwards here. They say thoughts produce your feelings produce your actions, and your actions produce results. That's what they say. I would say that your beliefs produce feelings. Those feelings produce habitual thoughts. Those thoughts create actions. And if you are playing by your design, your actions combine with something invisible to create a result that is even more than you thought you wanted. So how can that be? If we go to the root of this, we are in charge of what we believe. And a belief, I would say, is really the ultimate version of belief is love or faith or knowledge. And if you remember the spectrum that we were looking at a week or two ago, we looked at, let's see, where did that spectrum go? A couple weeks. There we go. We looked at really that's at the top. Like enlightenment is knowing, right? That's a place of knowledge. Love and joy, like these things, when you have your faith and your belief connected to these things, it makes something for you. It's the beginning of your spiritual work. And so if you're thinking this is going to go woo-woo, it's not. We've got two parts to combine here, because you do have to do the work. We're going to be talking about habits, but the habits need to be connected with your actual, what you were designed to do. Let's get into purpose real quick. If you are going to live a life of purpose, there's two sides of that purpose. There's one side over here that is others. No, let me take that back. This one is going to be you-centered, self-centered. And then this other side, it's going to be other-centered. All right. Great writing there. Your purpose is somewhere in the middle of serving you and serving others. It's like love. If everything you do is for other people, you're out of balance, you're unfulfilled. You are there's something that you will end up lacking if you don't allow the cycle to also feed you. If you're only self-serving, you'll go to the mountain and sit up there all day and talk to the gurus, and you'll hope that these people will bring you to some knowledge of yourself, but you're only in your own head. It never comes out of you. You're locked up in the place of fiction. Anything that is only inside of you is fiction. It's not true until it happens on the outside. Back to the question of how powerful do you think you are? If if someone, let's just say me, were to get to look at all like the video of all of your life, there would be a few moments where I would be astounded and amazed at some certain good things that you ended up doing. What might those be? What might your unbelievable, maybe incredible, maybe crazy feats be? What in your life have you done that is extraordinary? Think about that. And when you think about any of what we're about to talk about now, think about what has happened as an indicator of what could happen. We want to pull from the best. We typically pull from the worst. I want you to look at the top shelf stuff of what you've done in life. See that as what creates actual possibility for what you're reaching into. So we're not reaching into our future based on the lower level of our past. We're reaching into the future based on the higher level of our past. And I don't know how many trillions of atoms are inside of you, but I know if I were able to split just one of them, I could create enough energy to power your city block for a month. But we're not going to do that. We are going to get into some of your power places. The two sides of this is almost like an algorithm. I've been really attempting to grow my YouTube stuff as of late. And it is an algorithm. There's the part of the algorithm that matches you. This is what I want to do. This is how I want to live. This is the thing I want to say. And then there's the part of the algorithm that matches others. This is what we want. This is what we want from you. This is right. And the interesting thing is we've all seen the person who is the try hard person, and they just go out there and they're doing it all for other people. And when they do it, they lose what? They lose themselves. And then we've seen the other person, this selfish person that doesn't try hard, doesn't give effort for other people, and they go out there and they're doing what they want for them, and they're usually not very likable people. These people, if you're weighted here, you're probably more action oriented and less others oriented. So this is the warrior, this is the ruler, this is the sage, right? If you're over here, you're probably going to be, if you tend to be more, how can I serve other people? Well, you're probably the companion, you're probably the shaman, you're probably the everyman, you're probably the jester. There's multiple people on both sides where we tend to lean one way or the other. But what I'm saying is that you actually have to be aware of both sides of the algorithm. The way we split the atom is we have to connect what others want to what we want. So let's talk about that. Let's drill in here and look at others versus you. And so there are two sides of the equation. We've talked about these. But for you, what's your personality? What are the things that you want? If you do you want more structure? Do you want more clarity? Do you want more oneness with others? Do you want more generosity? What is it? We have personality. We have pursuit. Most of the people I talk to, they want more money, they want more recognition, they want more security, they want more something. But what's your pursuit? Then we go into your people, and this is where it gets interesting. Okay, who are the people you want to serve? So these are all your desires, by the way. Then we want to go down to is a problem you want to solve or puzzle. What is the process that you want to function in? Fast, slow, computers, people. What's a process that you want? And then how do you want to practice, meaning consistent action? And so then how should you plan? So these are some of those things we've talked about, but I want you to think about the other side of the equation. This is the you side. If you don't honor the you side, you will start a behavior to try to serve other people. But if you don't see the you side of this, you will stop because it doesn't feel like you. It feels foreign. It feels not effective. It feels like you're pretending. It feels all of these feelings. It's the reason we all stop habits. All of these reasons. I'm trying to duplicate this. I guess it's not going to let me, is it? One more try. There we go. On the others side of the equation, other people want things too. These are the things that you desire. What's your version of your desire? Here's what others desire. What do they want? What is their pursuit? Think about the people you want to serve. What's their typical personality type? Oddly, I have a personality test that's been taken by more and more people, which I love. It's very odd that a lot of them have very similar personalities. I'm not going to say which one it is right now because it's probably you. There's probably a reason why I know how to talk to you. What is their pursuit? They have a desire. So if we can take what we want to pursue and match it up with what they want to pursue, then we have opportunity. If I want gold, if I want to dig on your property for gold, but you don't want anyone to dig on your property, then we have misalignment. And so a lot of people are misaligned. They're either looking at themselves or they're looking at others for the answer. And the answer is somewhere in the middle of both. What's their problem? What are they trying to get? We have to be able to see really the desire equation. There's your desire, the desire of others. That's actually where purpose comes from. Go do something on purpose. What does that mean? It means to do something that you propose to do. Have a purpose. What else could that mean? It means that you're doing something that others need done. Purposeful work. So there's a you side, there's an other side to professional purpose. And the sweet spot is when both of those two things unite. Now, if you've ever, there are books out there. I like this. I think there's definitely something to be said about the Japanese philosophy of ikigai. And ikigai says that when you know what you love, and basically their whole goal is to find the intersection. The goal of ikigai is to find the intersection. Get my little marker out. Of what you love with what you're good at. What do you love? What are you good at? What can you be paid for? What does the world need? So there's some similarities to what I was just talking about. This is really the algorithm. The algorithm, not of YouTube, not of Facebook, not of LinkedIn or Instagram, but the algorithm of the world says if you can give us what you need or what we need from a generous space, from what you're skilled at it, we will reward you. And your rewards will be a byproduct. Yeah, but a lot of people, we look to the world, we get really good at something, but we hated doing it. So you're really good at it. And I don't agree. I think a vocation is a calling, but a job, if you get really good at what the world needs, you can get burnt out. You are used by the world. You don't want a job, you want a vocation. Profession, as we say it here, is when you love it, you're good at it, the world needs it, and there's opportunity. Oh, look, it's a little guy here. Oh, we'll complete the smile. There we go. All right. But finding these things, this is important. And the truth is that, listen, we get out of balance. And the other truth is a lot of times because we want something, we will take steps that are out of balance to get the thing. I work with in my coaching business, I work with a lot of people who are trying to create financial abundance or a business structure that doesn't need them anymore. And what happens is over a course of time, they involve themselves, they engage themselves at a very like high level of output in that area. They become off balanced and they go and they go and they go and they go. And when they finally look and realize, oh, I have that, but I want that, which isn't that all human nature for all of us. We always want the thing that is not necessarily the thing. It's really hard sometimes to exchange old behaviors for new behaviors. And it's not because you're stupid, it's not because you're bad, it's not because you're undisciplined. It's because you have pressed an image of something so deeply into you. You've sown the seeds of that behavior so many times that it feels like there's like literally a feeling that if you're not doing that thing, you're doing something wrong, or you're gonna have scarcity of some type. And I used to work with a sales guy, Stuart, and we were selling copiers, and Stuart would say, "Oh, it's that time of month again. I go into scurry mode." And so scurry mode for Stu was he would slack all month long, and if his numbers weren't where he needed them to be, he would get scared, run around, bounce around, go talk to people, and get more people signed up. And it always worked out for him. But it was interesting to watch the tension and relaxation of the whole scenario. But if you're having a hard time finding a new way, it might be because you have an old image pressed into you. You're running an old program, or let's just say you have an old crop planted in your field. And we need to pull that up and allow something else to be planted there. And that actually takes a mindset that we're going to talk about now. Because I think the answer to working a life that allows for your abundance to be a byproduct is actually, it's your spiritual work. Spiritual work is the answer. What is spiritual work? I'm going to define it as this. You can make it mean whatever you want it to mean, but I'm going to say it is spiritual, meaning it is you connected to something beyond what you can see or even calculate. It is, in my world, is me being connected with God. But even if you look to the deepest level, spiritual can literally just mean, if you're a Bible believer, spirit literally just means breath. The spirit was the ruach that was blown into man, or the ruach hakodesh, and the ruach was breath. It was the breath. And isn't it interesting that if you are doing work that you are present for, you can do a really good job. But if you are future casting, meaning you're looking too far into the future and you're worried about what you won't have in the future, or if you are going back to the past and pulling up all your mess ups of the past, if you're going to either of those places, you are not present. And I guess all of these people who do their breathing exercises and all of that, which I am a proponent of, but they have something here. Being present is a part of the answer, because it's in the present that you can find the unexpected. Can't find it anywhere else. This is where you find ingredients that you didn't realize were there. If you've been around me very long, you've heard the story of Ruth Graves Wakefield. She ran the bed and breakfast in the Massachusetts area, and she liked to cook the desserts for people who showed up, and she was cooking 50, 60 couples a night in her restaurant. And this is just before the Great Depression, actually, and even into it. And one night, she ran out of ingredients to actually make the thing she wanted to make. What did she do? She reached for the ingredients that she had. An opportunity where it basically presented itself from something that looked like a lack of opportunity. And so she didn't have baker's chocolate. She found these semi-sweet chocolate chunks given to her by Andrew Nestle. She sprinkled them into a little cake batter mix, baked it in the oven at 450 for 15 minutes or something like that, created the chocolate chip cookie. Opportunity happens when your gifts, your design, your love connect with the needs of other people. That's the space of opportunity. And the place where the spirit works that nothing else can. Listen, I love CRMs. I'm a guy that helps people reverse engineer all kinds of actions and activities. And I do believe that predictable action is a great way to build a business. It is. You have to. But I also would say you being present and relying on things that are around you and being aware of the things that are around you make you 10 times stronger. If you are walking as though certain things could exist, if you are looking as though a new opportunity could present itself, you're much more likely to find it than if you weren't. That becomes an extraordinary work. I'll give you an example, and this comes from my life. There are so many ways that I'm actually trying to take this. A big part of my work is trying to take this and make this predictable. But I'm going to give you an example. But I will say that to do this involves you becoming a seed sower. And the problem is that most of us have been out of balance for so long. We're producing a harvest that was the old harvest that we don't realize how many seeds we've sown towards that thing. And so when we see ourselves having to sow a seed towards a new thing, we don't realize that there might be a time element. Now, there might not be, but there might be. And if we were to throw ourselves into a world of imbalance, we miss out on the spiritual work. Spiritual work is definitely, it involves balance. But the seed, anytime you plant a seed, I remember this as a teacher, inside of the seed, there's this little seed part right here. But then there's this meat part. And the meat part, I forget actually what they call it. I should probably know this as a teacher. It basically is food for that seed to grow. This seed has everything it needs in it to actually bloom and grow into a plant. It just needs water and soil, and then eventually sunlight. They have found seeds from ancient Egypt in canisters from 4,000 years ago and planted them today, and they grow. That's how powerful seeds are. Now, your spiritual work, if you can see your work as something that you can apply in that way, it opens up new opportunities for you. It was actually at the beginning of this year. I went to a conference to support one of my clients. He was running the conference, had the big conference. It was there. I was not speaking this year. I've gone before where I looked for clients there, and I just none of that ever felt good to me. So I just decided I was going to go there as a seed sower. And I was just going to be generous where I could, connect where I could, and expect nothing. And there's such a liberty that comes from, I don't want to say not trying, but my personality I don't like to try that I'm trying to go for this. I'd rather for my rewards be a byproduct of what I do. And I see this person alone at the breakfast table. And so I just walk up to her and get into a talk with her. And she knows someone that I know. We hit it off. And I said, I think you might enjoy everything you're saying. Actually sounds like something I wrote about it in my book. Are you a reader? I feel weird asking you, would you like a copy of my book? That feels like some ego there, but would you? She says, oh my God, yes. And she takes it and I think she probably has me sign it or whatever. And I promised to introduce her to someone, and I do. She was there to recruit. And that was the end of it. That was all. I just showed up to be a blessing. About 4 hours later, somebody chases me down and they said, Hey, are you Donnie Tuttle? I said, I turned. I didn't know this guy. He said, are you the guy that wrote Sell Anywhere? Now, I've done a good job at writing this. I've not done a good job at promoting it. So it probably worldwide, other than being the most stolen book from our local Starbucks, I think there might be 500 copies in the people's hands, maybe 600, 700, something like. It's not. No one's ever asked me, "Am I the guy that wrote Sell Anywhere?" And I said, "Yes, I am." He said, "Great. I need to talk with you because we're looking for content creators for this new thing." And he brings me, as we're talking, I love this guy. I love his mission. And then he introduces me to someone that's been a hero to me in the coaching world. He has like the largest coaching organization for people in mortgage named Todd Duncan. And then me and Todd Duncan are talking all day long. And they're like, oh, and here's our studio. And we have a couple people who are filming things. And If you can think of anything in the next day or two, we're trying to fill something up called fuel. Which, if you have something, we'd love for you to share. So mic me up right now. And it was something very special that I was able to share stories and tips and like there I was able to give them exactly what they needed for what they were creating. And all I was doing was being generous. But I looked at what the moment had to offer. I got rid of all of the things that I wanted and needed my way, but I still brought all of the great things that I bring. Fast forward, they fly me out and produce my stuff in a very high fidelity. It's just a beautiful course they made from me, and they featured me alongside other world famous authors and coaches and stuff like that. It was a great opportunity, and I've met people through that. Like big financial opportunities have come from that, and they still continue. And the point that I'm getting to, and the reason I'm sharing that, is that when you are doing your spiritual work, you're taking your seed. Now, this one, I don't know if it'd work. Actually, I spray painted this one gold. But you're taking your seed and you're planting it, and you're doing it joyfully without the necessity of it doing anything for you right now. Why? It's a seed. I, I I guess I could eat this, but that's not how it works. You have to eat some probably to survive, but you also have to plant some. And so your spiritual work is when you are connected to the gifts that are inside of you in a way that serves other people, in a way that you're in alignment with the opportunity. It's just like this. Actually, you know what? Hold on. I've got to get some. Ha! It is like this. I believe this is out of tune, but just one turn of the string. I should keep this in my treasure chest. What? Just one turn messes it all up and changes what comes out of it for you. What's the string that's too tight for you? What is the thing that you've been giving yourself to so much that there's nothing left in the other areas? Are you pushing for money? I understand. I understand. I've personally come to a place where because I was building something, I pulled all of my effort and energy over from other areas. Health, that's not good. A little bit of relationships, that's not good. And sometimes you do go out of balance with some things. Sometimes the string is a little bit tighter. But my question to you is, does it have to be? Can we create a place of balance? Can we create a space for you to have everything that you want in a way that serves you and others? You are not here to be a sacrifice for other people. You are here to be a finely tuned instrument. My dog has wings. Anyway, if you are that finely tuned instrument, I need to tune it. If you are that finely tuned instrument, you free other people. And I hope that's a part of your mission. I'm going to leave you with a couple questions. What things would you like to be true about life and work? What things are you trying to prove? What unique abilities do you have? How does that align with current needs of others? Has that shifted? If it has, just like that ukulele is out of tune. If it's shifted, that's normal. Is there a new opportunity for you to realign and serve with? Is there a better opportunity? How can you give yourself appropriately to what the moment is asking of you? And how can you do it in a way that doesn't take from these other areas of life that you treasure? Your body, your spirit, your family, your relationships, your business, your finance, right? Like, how can we keep these things in harmony and not in a place to where one thing is pulling harder than all of the others. Final question. What is the most important thing that you, in your mind, would like to see happen that could impact all of these things?